Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Thursday Live. My name is Denise Armenio, and I am a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, as well as a certified genius biofeedback practitioner. And I am here with Claire McIntyre, to help teach you a little bit about the Genius app and how it works, and also to give you a demonstration. So today we will be doing a group scan on the group. So for those of you who are here live, thank you for being here. I have a group who is already thinking about what they want to work on today and to rate them. But for those of you who are going to be watching this on the replay, my intention is that this session will also work for you as well. So also please think about what you would want. Your issue may be a physical pain. I usually tell people to work on a physical pain or emotional pain because it's easier to see results at the end of the session. And if you rate it before and after, it gives you a way to measure it. So, and I also just want to ask Claire to say hello. She will be working in the chat and helping anybody that may have any questions. And we are going to get started. I'm going to share, give me just 1 second to cancel out of where I was. Sorry, guys.
Hello, and welcome to those that have not been with us previously.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so let me share.
Okay.
This is a group session. I'm just going to go into and access my client records. Nobody's name will come up, so we can just use that so you can see how I do that. So here would be the page once you log in that you would see. I did clear this just before I shared the screen, but usually it will have the last client that you worked on. And that's there. So should you need to go back to that session, you can do that by hitting load current client results. Or you would want to, if you're working on someone new, you would want to begin a new scan and click, and you would want to click there. It clears the scan and kind of the energy. So just to allow you to go forward. Um, if it is a new person that you've never worked on before, you would enter all their information here, and then you would continue with new analysis. But since I already have our group set up as a client record, I can access that by accessing your client records. And I'm just going to go to, whoops, let's just do Thursday live. And if I wanted to look at past results that we had worked on, I can do that by clicking view past results. If I wanted to delete this user, I could do that by hitting delete, or I could start new analysis, or I can edit it. I'm actually going to use this one because there's no picture and I'm not going to take a group picture today. So I'm just going to hit start with new analysis. Okay. I'm also, I normally would recommend that you take a voice scan, but just to help move things along, since there's a group of us, I'm not going to do the voice analysis, but you would do that by pressing the record button and repeating the vowels A, E, I, O, U until this 15-second counter gets to 0. And then I would also recommend, once that's done, to listen to the voice harmonics, as that does allow you to listen to how the genius has translated your spoken word into a frequency. And it does have some healing benefits similar to that of homeopathics, where like cancels out like. But just to, we're going to bypass this. I'm going to hit skip. And again, I'm not going to take a photo of the group here. Although I usually recommend it, there are times when you can't get a voice or a picture of somebody, and the scan does still work. And I have had it happen many times and still have had really wonderful results. So don't get worried if you can't get either of those items. Okay, so the next thing we see is we're on our system overview page, but there is a pop-up here that says energetic affirmation. And this is here. So similar how we gave a voice sample and it translated into a frequency. Here, the genius is asking us if we would like to work with an affirmation. So sometimes like people like to work on an affirmation, a different one daily, and you may want to put that in here. And what happens is the genius will translate that written text into a frequency that will be overlaid while frequencies are run throughout this session and only this session. So it would change every time. So I'm just going to hit yes, and I'm going to enter in the um, affirmation that I always put in, which is all energies are transmuted into the frequency of your love. And then I just like to add and. So it is, whoops. Okay. And then you just hit okay and it's done. And the frequency for that affirmation will be overlaid throughout this session today. I'm just sorry, guys. I need to bring up my chat so I can see. Before we get started, some of the ailments that we'll be working with today: bad shoulder pain, some neck and shoulder pain, also needing some confidence, an overthinking mind and monkey chatter, knee and back pain, and some emotional stress. So we'll see what comes up, but I will look at getting into working with some of those. And for all of you that will watch this in the replay, my intention is that you will benefit and from anything that we do here today. So once you get to this screen, I'm going to hit begin analysis. If you are on the trial, or if you've only purchased the basic version and have not purchased any libraries or created any libraries, you will not see this custom libraries banner here. Other than that, everything is exactly the same. But once you do create a library, or you purchase, or another Genius user shares a library with you, then this will pop up and you can work with it the same as I am today. So I'm just going to hit begin analysis. Okay. So now the first thing I want to do is just scroll down, but you're going to see the body and all the different like kind of I want to call it libraries, so you get used to hearing the term, but under different categories. So body systems, if you click on that line, it gives you a listing of all the different body systems. If you click on electrical sensitivities, you'll get a listing of all different types of electrical sensitivities. Again, today's stress will bring up things that are stressing out the group as a whole today. And then we have 3 categories. It's the body, mind, and body biofield. But I'm just going to scroll down because before I get sidetracked, I just want to look at the aura. And the number for the aura is generally pretty good, 351. Ideally, I'd love to see it between 400 and 600, but that is a good number. And now I'm just going to click on it so we can get an aura picture of the group to start the session. So I'm going to hit begin analysis. So now I like to view the aura by hiding the avatar so we can see what's underneath it. So, generally speaking, the aura could get very complex depending on what different people's gifts are when they look at this. But just to keep it very basic, what we're looking for generally is bright, vibrant colors. The colors that we're looking at are the colors of the seven chakras. And if you're not familiar with the chakras, you can always Google them and look them up to get more information about them. Um, but um, and then there's going to be varying shades of every color. So what we want to see ideally is bright colors, kind of like neon like colors, and also crisp. You can see that it's a little blurry and has some dark or gray like coverings on it. That's definitely signaling that there's some stagnant energy for sure in there, and definitely some negative energies that are in there. And again, working on different areas in the genius, like spiritual protection, is a great way to work with those energies. And the different layers, the more layers, the better. And the center would be like your physical body. And then again, you can move out. It's all the different layers of the auric field. The switch to old is another version of an aura. It's the old version before we went to like the our 2.0 genius. But it was kept because it does give a lot of information and some different information. What I do want the biggest takeaway I want you to get from this on as a very basic level is that I want you to look and to see that all four corners are filled with color. If they are filled with color, that is a good indication that you are grounded, which is what you ideally would want to be. If it's not filled with color in the four corners, it indicates that you're not grounded and not fully in your body. And if you're not grounded and fully in your body, you're um could be experiencing anxiety or some depression, because if you're grounded, you're going to be in the present moment. Um, so and that's ideally where we want to live every day from, is being in the present moment. So we will work on that today because there it seems that we are very ungrounded and for the group is not in their body. So we will work on that. And sometimes that could just happen by not wanting to be in the group setting, or maybe they're just nervous on what will show up, and maybe they were fine before. Again, this is just a snapshot in the moment, but in the moment that the genius did the analysis, this is what's showing up. You could go into way more detail in this, but again, it's not for these demo purposes because it would take us down a different rabbit hole. So let's just to explain for a minute what the numbers mean. So the Genius uses a numerical value system that ranges from 0 to 777. The low range from 0 to 200 is represented by the color blue, and that indicates and is observed to be chronic energetic disturbances. So items in this range would could be called stagnant energy or under energy, and they are most likely causing some kind of a crisis on the body. These items that are chronic potentially are the root cause for many of the issues that may be going on within your body and auric field currently. The next range goes from 201 to 450, and that is represented by the color green. We then go to the next range, which goes from 451 to 600. That's represented by the color yellow. And finally, the highest range goes from 601 to 777. That is represented by the color red. And this range is observed to be acute energetic disturbances. So it's out of balance or harmony right now. Um, so if items in this category might be categorized as heat or inflammation or over energy, and could also more than likely be causing some kind of a stress on the body. But it's only a stress that is occurring in the moment right now. Um, the so after I describe the highs, which are red, and the lows, I just want to make sure everybody understands that's only giving you information on how long something's been out of balance. So the reds just became out of balance and the blues have been out of balance for a longer period of time. Now, for me, I've been working with the Genius for a while now. And so my range of what I feel is more balanced. It's not anything is going to be always, it's never going to be 100% balanced, but just an acceptable range is between 400 and 600. That's much tighter than what the Genius is working with. And as you come to work with it, um, you can, work with it in the same way. I just working with a tighter range, just I work with more frequencies to hopefully to balance more of them. So within that range, your yellow would be like your okay range because the yellow range goes from 450 to 600. And then you have the top portion, the very top portion of the green range. Um, Green goes from 200 to 450. So between 400 and 450 in green would also be like your okay range. But a lot of green is also, I treat similarly to a blue. So I would work with that. Um, and then But for those of you just starting out and to not confuse yourself, you can just work with the reds and the blues. The other thing that's nice when you're starting out is to help keep you from being overwhelmed. You can just work on quick balances. You don't have to worry about um what some of the different areas mean for those of you who are new, who may not understand what the biofield is or may not be familiar with the meridians, chakras, nogier, sacred geometry. Well, you're certainly welcome to look them up and dive deeper into it. You don't really have to have a true understanding to work with it. You can just work with the quick balance as you get into each section and have the genius do the work for you by running all the reds and the blue frequencies. The only thing you need to do is to set the timer. And I would start off with small amounts of time to begin with. When you're working with frequencies, uh, more isn't always better. So I use smaller increments. The other thing I just want to point out is the arrow that you see right to the left on the left margin. That is just indicating that there is some information that you can click on the line and you can go below. Now, the only area where it goes deeper than one level is in the biofield, and that would be meridians. So if you were to click on meridians, it tells you the different meridians, but if you click again, it will also give you all the points within the meridian. So that's super helpful. You can even get more detail on what each specific point is by clicking on the I for information in there. So it enables you to get really detailed and give yourself some digital acupuncture or virtual acupuncture. So now that I've gone over mostly all of that, I want to start and show you how I start a session. So the first step that I always do, I work with our energy field or biofield or auric field. They all mean basically the same thing. It is an energy field around us that protects us and also the cells of our body. So for those of you who are new or are on trial or only have the basic version, the way you do this would be to add all the items in the biofield, as well as adding in the minerals, vitamins, and amino acids from the body. I am going to go into the custom libraries because I work with a library that I created that has all that information, and it has a little bit extra information in it as well. And Tammy, yes, Clara's right. Any color would be good. Ideally, bright, vibrant colors throughout, but just showing a color in that in the old version of the aura is what you would be looking for. Okay, so now you can see these are all my custom libraries. So there are a lot here, over close to 3,000 libraries, I believe I have. But so in order to get to the search, you can click on this little tab in the center. And I'm going to go straight to the search bar and hit bioterrain. Whoops. Oh my gosh. Okay, my fingers aren't working so well today. So here are some of the panels in the bioterrain, and the one that I was speaking of that has everything from the biofield, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and then I don't know, about maybe 30 additional items, is from the vessel priming frequencies. Now, most of the time you can click on a library title and you can drag it down. What that does when you drag it down is it not only brings the library title, but all the items from within that library. So it's a nice quick way to get them all in. You may be wondering why I've added all of them and not the reds and blues. And the simple reason for that is all the items in the vessel priming frequencies are really important for the health and hygiene of our auric field and of our cells. And when we add them to the main hold tray, what's really kind of cool is that it's a little bit of an advanced feature that it brings you to what's called progressive insights. And here the genius uses algorithms that looks at all the items in the main hold tray. So right now it's all the items from the vessel priming frequencies that I just added in, and it looks at the relationship. So what happens is initially the genius will look at each item individually and come up with that numerical value. So each item against your energy field or the group's energy field. But and it maybe it's normal. But when when the genius looks at that item with the group, it may not be happy in that group. So the value may be very different. Now, it's not going to give you a new value number in here, but it will categorize it as high, medium, or low. So we are going to run an analysis. Okay, so what I like to do is I select all, and I'll put the timer on 1 minute, and we'll run all of these frequencies now for just 1 minute. So you can see this little pop-up, it says excellent, and it says that we had responded positively. And that is showing up because the average percent rectification is above 40%. So anything above 40%, you will see that pop up and it will say that you responded excellent. Now, anything between 20 and 40% is considered good. Any movement, is improvement, whether it's 20%, 25, 40. So but it is nice to see when we get a percent rectification above 40%. The other thing I always like and encourage you to look at is the percentages above the average percent rectification. Those three percentages are what make up the average percent, but they're important to look at the low, which in this case is 50%, and the high, which is 58%. This is really good. It's a range of only 8, and I don't like that range to get greater than 20. The reason for that is it could begin to become unstable, meaning that if different energies and frequencies come into our field all the time, and if it's greater than 20, it may become out of balance again. So what we're working on right now is trying to bring all these, harmonize and balance all these frequencies so that it will strengthen our auric field and our cells. So this is great. What I would do now, because that's above 40%, is hit rescan. And it just kind of reshuffles everything. And because we just had a good average percent rectification on all the items, I just want to focus on the new set of highs and lows. So I'm just going to click on high. Now you have to double click it so it becomes purple or blue, again, whatever color you want to call it. And then I will also click on the lows. So now I only have the highs and the lows selected. And I'll move the timer down to 0 minutes. This enables me to manually stop the Genius from running the frequency. So I can run it for less than a minute, or I could run it for any length of time in between a minute and 2 minutes, or 2 minutes and 3 minutes, all the way up to 30 minutes. And in fact, it would run about 500 minutes if you never stopped it at all, which is roughly about 8 hours. But I don't normally recommend to run frequencies that long. So let's run these now for about 30 seconds. So great. We all are doing really well. So the average percent rectification again is above 40%. It's 55. And again, the low is 50 and the high is 59. So again, that is really a tight range. So that's really great. So I'm really happy with that. So what I would do now is I would hit the back arrow and go back to the system overview page. And I would go down to the main hold tray and hit the up arrow. This shows me what I have in the main hold tray. And if you look to the top right, it says clear all. I'm just going to select that. If by chance you just wanted to select 1 or 2 items, you can just X out the item, but I'm just going to clear them all. And now close this main hold tray again. So now we have step 2. So my step 2 is one of my favorite steps. And the reason for that is it takes all the line items from every category in the system overview, as well as whatever custom libraries you have, and it puts it all into one list. So you're going to be able to see all the reds and blues for every item that's contained in your Genius database. So because I have so many libraries, my, I have a lot of line items in here. So we would work a little differently with it because I don't really recommend going above 200 or 250 in the main hold tray. For these demonstration purposes, especially in the general overview, sometimes or often I do go over that just so I can work on more, but I would generally break it up into like your blues and I would break it down into blues and reds for me because I have so many. If you don't have as many libraries, you might be able to do it in one balance. So that's up to each individual. We do have the highs showing first. I like to look at the blues. And again, the blues are going to be more than likely many of the underlying causes to many of the ailments or symptoms that you may be experiencing, or even things that you're not experiencing but are out of balance. So calm and relaxed is showing up for the group as being out of balance, and it's a limbic system harmonized. We can see a heart formula, um, tornadoes and hurricanes. So that's really interesting. That's a library. If anybody who was on that Mythbusters episode of tornadoes and hurricanes, we wrote that panel as a group. So it's really neat. Minimize flooding. So I don't know if anybody out there is experiencing bad weather, but maybe this is for you right now. So you can see that there's a bunch of these. I'm not going to go through them all because there are many, but I will add the bottom 50 to the main hold tray. And I'm also going to add the top 50 to the main hold tray. And I'm going to remove all the library panels now. And now, once I remove all the custom panels, then I just have all the line items that are from the system overview page. So by working here, you're really working with everything on that opening page with the reds and the blues. So it's a nice way to work with everything really quickly if you want to do a quick balance in here. It's kind of like a no-brainer. So I'm just going to add the blues and the reds, which is putting me at 367. I know that's goes a little bit over, but that's okay for now. And now I'm just going to hit the play button, which will bring you to Progressive Insights. And once again, I'm going to hit begin analysis. And again, I will hit all and I'll move the timer to 1 minute. I kind of run it the same way every time. So you just kind of follow along with that pattern. And I'm going to hit play now and run this for 1 minute. Right, great. We have 47%. But you can see now that the lowest percentage is 36, and then it goes up to 65. So for me, although this does say it's an average percent rectification of 47%, I would run it again until this range is a little bit tighter. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to turn the timer down to 30 seconds. I'm still going to keep them all selected, and I'm just going to run this for another 30 seconds. Okay, so now the average percent rectification is 28, but if you look, it goes from 26 to 32. So in my opinion, that's much better because it's tighter. It's still a good, a average percent rectification. And now what I would do is I would deselect the mediums and I would run just the highs and the lows to see if we can get that average percent rectification higher. I'm still going to leave it on 0 and run it for about 30 seconds. So we're at 34%. And again, this 34% is really a strong 34%. The three, harmony is at 35, alignment 35, and energy flow is 34. So that's really, really stable. If this wasn't a demo, I might run it a little bit longer, but for the demo, I'm really happy with that because it's extremely stable and it's still, 34% of all those 367 frequencies, well, minus the medium ones, harmonized. So I'm happy with that. Now, I usually, I like to check in with my clients after steps 1 and 2, mainly because it's interesting after working with those. Often people will already see improvement just from running those first 2 steps without even um, working on specific symptoms. So has anybody, let me just look. So Dominique, your shoulder pain and you can't move it, you had it at an 8. Is it still at an 8? Can you move it any better? How's the pain on that? It's okay if it's unchanged. I'm just checking in. You can unmic if you wanted. Are you still there? Oh, well, let's look. Jennifer, your neck pain and shoulder pain, is it still at a 4?
I would say it's still at a 4.
Okay. And I don't know if you can tell on your confidence, but hopefully we're working on that as well. David, how are you? Is the monkey chatter, is it kind of overthinking? Do you feel calmer than you did when we first came on? Any calmer?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit calmer than I was.
Okay, good. Good. Pam, how's your knee and your back? Any changed or shift?
Yeah, it's now I think it's 2.
Okay, great. You were a 4 before, so that's a 50% improvement. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Tammy, how are you feeling? Are you any calmer with your
Sleepy.
Well, that's good. That's good. The frequencies do have a tendency to make you feel sleepy. Your brain is doing a lot of work. So good. That is a normal reaction, by the way. Sometimes some of the people may feel an overstimulated feeling that will subside after you stop working with the frequencies, but sleepy is a normal, and it is a good sign actually that processing is happening. So you don't feel any shifts now. You may come to feel some later, but it just things under the hood might be improving that you aren't really aware of right now. So now that we worked on that, I'm going to go back now to the system overview page. I am going to clear the main hold tray. And now I can start for my step 3 addressing some of the symptoms that that the group was experiencing. So I am going to go into the custom libraries. And the first thing I'm going to go to is the pain panel that I use. And I will add all the blues and the reds. And I'm even going to add the greens in this case. And now I'm going to go to the library human body structure. And this is now we can look at the shoulders and the knees and the back. I think those were the 3 areas, but I am going to bring in this is very low for the this hyoid balance. It helps in centering, so maybe that will even help because it was so out of balance. Um Hopefully that will help bring us back into balance. It's not letting me bring them all in, so I'm just going to drag and drop them all. And here we have the shoulder and the arm. So again, I'm just going to add all of them. Get the yellow. And I'm going to get the vertical column. I'm just going to put the blues, the reds and the blues in there. And if I pass anything, here's the knee joint. Here's the shoulder. Um, I'm going to add in the muscles of and the spinal nerves here. And there's a lot in here for the shoulder. And there's some affirmations as well. I'm just going to add the blue affirmations because the main hold tray gets filled up quickly. And I'm also going to add the veins. And the reason why I add the veins is that it helps bring circulation to everywhere. Maybe I'll get the green ones as well. And the last thing I am going to bring in is emotional. Where is it? Sorry, I'm looking. Oh, here it is. Just to bring some calm and release. So it does put us at 400, but again, okay, I'm going to select all, put them on 1 minute and hit play. So excellent. So we did really well here for having 400 items. We had an average percent rectification of 67. The low is 60 and the high is 75. So there's just a range of 15. So that's really good. I am going to reset. And I'm just going to work with the highs and the lows here. So I'm just going to double click on the highs and the lows, and I'm going to work on those for 30 seconds. And that's at 35%. And again, it's a tight, it goes from 33 to 39. So that's really great. Can everybody just check in one more time? Dominique, how you feel any difference in your shoulder? I know that was really painful for you. Okay, great. You're better. So you went from an 8 to a 5. So that's really good. Anyone else see any additional improvement? And Jennifer, I forget what. It was your neck and shoulder as well. So that's loosening up. So that is even better than it was before the last time. That's all. So how would you re-rate it? It was a 4 before. Now what would you put it at?
Maybe a 3.
Okay, so a little bit, not so much, huh? Oh, and Dominique is saying, and you can lift up your arm slowly. So that's great. So if we had the opportunity, we would be able to run these frequencies a little bit longer for you. I'm sorry that we can't. Tammy is reporting she's having a slight headache now. That's very common. Tammy, have you had any water? Sometimes running the frequencies can dehydrate you. So usually drinking some water will help. Other times it could just be, it's just an overstimulation and it will subside in a little bit of time. It doesn't usually last. And Pam is saying that you're feeling much better. That's great news. I'm so glad to hear that. David, how are you? Are you there, David? Did you fall asleep?
No, I'm here. I'm now tingling all over. I'm very sensitive to the frequencies.
You are
So I know they're coming through.
excellent.
I
Excellent.
feel about the same, but my head is just zipping now.
Okay, well, we won't be running any more right now. So you can let them just rest. Does it normally take you like a day to feel the changes? I know, like,
Yes, usually like over 24 hours.
okay, well, I hope that you feel better
But
tomorrow.
I'm very sensitive to these sort of frequencies and that. So I know they're working.
Oh, great. Well, I hope tomorrow you have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to go back and we're almost at the top of the hour, but I do want to look at the aura and see how that is. And the middle is a little bit darker, but it does look overall better to me. It looks overall brighter. The green is brighter in here. There's still that, grayish or blackish in the background, but it is much brighter to me. So that is good. It's still not fully grounded. I do want to just I'm going to clear these frequencies out. And I'm going to add in grounding from spiritual protection. And I'm going to quickly go to, the Alaskan gems, which are great for grounding. Now the group, it does show the group is really low on environmental essences. And the grounding is showing off as well. I'm going to add the blue and the red, and I'm going to add these blue and red here. I'm going to run them all, but just for 30 seconds. Okay, so that's at 37%. I'm not going to run them any longer, but we can just look quickly and see how it's affected the aura. Okay, so we see the colors are going to shift, and and that's all good. And you still need some more work on the grounding. So it's not going to be able to do more work on it today in this session. But if you have available to go outside and walk on the grass or hug a tree, or have a grounding mat, those would be some great things that you can work on to help ground everybody. So I hope everybody enjoyed today. I hope you learned something new. For those of you on the trial, come back again. This is an amazing device. In my opinion, everybody should have one at their home. It's like and add it to your first aid kit. So anybody out there who's watching this on the replay on YouTube, please come back and maybe you can join us live. Anyway, thank you, Claire. Thank you for being here and helping. And thank you everyone else for being here and volunteering. So I look forward to seeing everybody next week on our next Thursday live.
Thank you, Denise, and thank you, Claire. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.